The X-Men's finally coming to the MCU. Now the question is, who should be on the team? X-Men is by far our favorite Marvel team, and Edward and I have both picked our own team, and we do not know the others. Once you hear us out, vote in the comments who has the better team, and make sure to let us know who your dream X-Men team is. And before we get into it, a brief word about our sponsor, Manta Sleep. Do you have trouble sleeping? Do you need complete darkness to fall asleep? Look no further than Manta Sleep Sleep Mask. They block out the light completely, and they're extremely comfortable too. And for those side sleepers out there, have no fear. They won't fall off or shift as you move. There'll be a link in the description below, and make sure to use the code NERDDoctor10 to get 10% off your order. And now, back to the video.
Who doesn't love X-Men? I love X-Men, and for me, I know exactly who I want. I want Gambit in the team. Gambit hasn't really been given the spotlight. He was fantastic. Channing Tatum did such a great job with him in Deadpool and Wolverine. But I want to see him part of the X-Men. I've always wanted to see him part of the X-Men. And I'm not sure if they're going to go with Channing Tatum or, whether they're going to recast and get someone younger. But Gambit has to be part of my X-Men roster. He's an amazing character. He's got such charisma. He's athletic. He's essentially a ninja. He knows all these martial arts. He's got some of the coolest powers. Basically, anything the guy touches, he turns into an explosive. And the romance between him and Rogue is just one of the coolest romances in comic books. So I really want to see him be part of the X-Men team. You don't have to give me a backstory. You don't have to show him as a child. The whole thing with the Thieves Guild. Don't have to do that. Just drop him in part of the team already. And as he goes along, if you want to have a couple of scenes where he maybe talks about his past, great. But definitely have Gambit as part of the team. Speaking about Gambit and his romance, gotta have my baby's mama Rogue in there. Rogue is so cool, but she's got all these powers. And you have Carol Danvers in the MCU, so you could just use the whole, she steals her powers and becomes powerful, and she can fly and do all these other great things. Because in the original X-Men movies, one of the worst things about those movies was Rogue not doing much. Yes, she had her ability to siphon other mutants' powers or anyone's, essence, if you will. But she wasn't able to fly. She wasn't super strong. She didn't really do much. But I really do want to see Rogue in the spotlight. And especially with word that we're getting that they're going to be comic book accurate, the suits and stuff like that. I cannot wait to see Rogue, especially Rogue and Gambit. Give me Rogue and Gambit, not Rogue and Iceman. What the hell was that shit? And when we're talking about women in the X-Men, Jubilee's amazing. She's endearing to me because of Gambit. X-Men 97, that opening scene at the mall where Gambit starts calling her Petite and saves her, or tries to save her, but ends up getting his ass mopped by a Sentinel. I really like that dynamic. And yes, Jubilee, Gambit, Jubilee, Wolverine, it all works for me. Anyone that they want to cast, I'm not really sure who would fit the role. I could go for an unknown, but I need Jubilee in my X-Men roster for sure, 100%. She just brings that youth and charisma to the team, because Wolverine and sometimes even Gambit, they tend to be so dark and broody that she brings that levity. So yeah, give me Jubilee for sure. And someone I really want to see on the team, perhaps more so than I do Gambit, if you can believe that, is Angel, aka Warren Worthington III. Whether that is Angel or Archangel, you don't even have to do the whole Angel story. You could just drop in Archangel already with his metallic wings and just give me that. But do it properly. The reason why I really want Angel, and perhaps more than Gambit, is because we've seen Angel before in X-Men movies. They've screwed him up every time. In X-Men The Last Stand, the dude's there for like 5 minutes. All he ever does is fly out a window one time. That's it. You see him like 2 more times, but doesn't do anything very important. And then they try to, bring him back and do something with him in X-Men Apocalypse, but it was just, he's like a cage fighter for some damn reason that I don't know. He had claws on his wings, which makes no goddamn sense whatsoever. And then they turn him into Archangel. Yeah, we finally see Archangel, but it's done in the stupidest way in the world. Not the transformation, what he looks like after the transformation. So in the animated series and in the comics, Archangel's able to retract his wings, which is fucking cool because he still has these big spikes hanging out. That looks dope. And his skin is blue. And I don't know why Fox has this stupid ass way of thinking that if you already have 1 or 2 blue characters in your movie, you can't have another blue character. So what they went and did with him was they just gave him like these blue, I don't know, like Egyptian lettering. I'm not sure. And they gave him the world's stupidest haircut. It didn't fucking work. They didn't even hint slightly at his romance with Psylocke, which pissed me off. I don't know. It was just weird. So I want to see Angel done right. He's a billionaire. His father has this whole thing about I don't want mutants, and he's ashamed of his son. He's trying to get his son cured. Angel's part of the original X-Men team. Just bring him in there. The dude can fly. He can fly at supersonic speeds, especially when he has his metallic wings. They're essentially what he shoots out are feathers, but they're poison. Badass character, man. Just do him right. And still, looking at my roster, of course, I have to have Psylocke. Psylocke was perfectly cast in X-Men Apocalypse, but I think she's one of the best parts about that whole damn movie is Psylocke. Psylocke is amazing. She's a ninja. She's dealt with the hand before. She's switched bodies. She's a telepath. She's got a psionic katana.
Hate the body switching.
I hate the body switching too, but because I much prefer Asian Psylocke. I just think it fits the role better. And Olivia Munn was so pro the character. She was like, no, give me a comic book accurate suit. I'll somehow squeeze in that thing, and she looks phenomenal. And she even learned swordplay for the role. So yeah, man, I need to have Psylocke. If you give me a proper angel / archangel, give me a proper Psylocke. I think you can't have an X-Men team without Storm. You have to have Storm. Just give me Storm. Give her a proper African accent this time, because Halle Berry had one, but then she kind of lost it like a movie and a half in, which is weird as balls. Yeah, give me Storm. Give me Storm and do her justice. Griffin and I have an entire video about X-Men where we talk about Storm in the movie. She's like, oh yeah, I just called down lightning and shit. Like, dude, she controls the fucking weather on a molecular level. Like, bro, like, I don't think you understand. Like, it's currently raining in my neck of the woods. It's pissing rain in my neck of the woods. So believe me when I tell you, Storm is an Omega level mutant. She's scary as all hell. If she gets pissed, we're all done. That's it. It's over. The fact that they just, in the movies, they just have her like call down lightning. Pretty much that's all she. I think maybe in X2 she had like a couple tornadoes, but she could do so much more without even breaking a sweat. Give me a proper Storm, and I'll be happy as all hell. For my next one, and this is only because, yes, a lot of my picks have to do with the X-Men movies. In the X-Men movies, he was just some dude in the background, like, upset because someone was trying to nail his chick. Cyclops is so much more than that. He's the leader of the X-Men. Please don't make Wolverine the X-Men leader anymore. Please. Have Wolverine there. He's integral. Don't get me wrong, guys. Don't start telling me to go F myself. I love Wolverine. But don't make him the leader of the X-Men. He doesn't even want to be the leader of the X-Men. Cyclops is the leader of the X-Men. This guy's a Boy Scout. And a lot of people think, oh, Cyclops is just some dude that shoots out lasers. No, Cyclops is trained in tactical warfare, man. He knows how to lead. He could be a dick at times. I totally get that. But maybe that's what a leader turns you into, is kind of a dick. Captain America, in my opinion, sometimes he's kind of a dick. He's right 99% of the time, but he's a dick about it. But he has to be. You know, you don't lead a group of super powerful people by being, sweet and nice about it. That's not the way it goes. Cyclops is cool. I love his Jim Lee X-Men uniform. Give me that on screen. Don't be afraid of the yellow, guys. I mean, I wouldn't wear yellow, but Cyclops with the blue and the yellow. You guys did it for X-Men Apocalypse for 30 seconds. You gave him comic book accurate suits, and then in the next movie, I forgot what the hell it's called, they're not wearing that. Why the hell did you even tease those? Yeah, fuck that movie. So Cyclops, for sure. 100% throw him in there. The guy's kind of a dick, but he's the dick we need. And for my final pick, and this may surprise Griffin, because we spoke about this a couple days ago, and I had given him a roster, but in having all this extra time to think about it, Nightcrawler. I want to see Nightcrawler. I just think Nightcrawler's a cool character for a lot of reasons. The dude has one of the coolest looks, and it's kind of the yin and yang to Angel, where Angel is this blonde, blue-eyed, dude with like angel wings. Nightcrawler, and Angel couldn't give two F's about religion. Nightcrawler looks like a demon. And he's one of the most religious characters in probably comic book history. He's Catholic, but he's like die-hard Catholic. Like, he attends mass, he confesses, he prays. He prays for others. He's got his rosary and stuff like that. And I find that very endearing that they were able to balance that. The fact that this guy who looks like a demon, he'd probably scare the crap out of kids if they saw him. But yet he's one of the nicest characters. And at the same time of being nice, he's the one character that I know that can balance being nice but also being lethal as all hell. With the tail, he's a swordsman. He knows martial arts, and his teleportation powers are just badass. And the fact that there's a smell of sulfur every time he teleports because, he's a demon. It's badass. He's the son of Mystique. He's just a very cool character. Anytime I see him, whether it's live action or whether I see him on a comic book or in a cartoon, it's just fun to look at him. It's fun to be around him and his accent. You know, he's German and stuff. It's great, man. I want to see a Nightcrawler, and I would love to see a comic book accurate comic book looking Nightcrawler. I want to see that. I know we're getting him in Doomsday. I know it's Alan Cummings coming back. I think he did a great job. I can't remember the kid that played him in the X-Men prequel movies or whatever. I think he did an okay job, but I really wanted to see him in his, like, give me a Nightcrawler from X-Men 97 live action movie. I'm set.
What's really funny between mine and Edward's teams is that we only share 2 similar characters, which I think
That's surprising.
is really surprising going into this. And I'll start off with, of course, Cyclops. For all the reasons Edward said, my team is designed more around where you do have the first class X-Men. Jean Grey, Cyclops, Beast, Angel, Iceman. That was the first class, and my team is the second one, the second class, where you still have the experience in those characters in the universe, but that's not what the main X-Men team is going to be focused on. But I think having a Cyclops with that experience is definitely needed. And as much as I like James Marsden, we needed better with Cyclops. At least X-Men 97 gave us a much better Cyclops, where he finally took center stage and showcased why he's the leader of the X-Men and just how fucking cool he could be. And for my next pick, honestly, this one I'm not super attached to, but I kind of feel like I have to have him there, is Jean Grey. I do want a good Phoenix arc, but I want that much later. And honestly, I want her to stay dead and then be replaced with Emma Frost down the line. But you do need to start off with Jean Grey. At least just in my eyes, she has to be there sometime at the start, in universe or on the X-Men team. She is an extremely powerful telepath and will eventually become Phoenix. Marvel is too, I don't know if greedy is the word, or just desire to one-up Fox, who tried it twice, that they're going to have to try the Phoenix Saga at some point just to prove that they're better. It's just how it is. Or just make a new story around her. My last remaining member of the first class team that's still on X-Men is Iceman Bobby Drake. He is one of my favorite X-Men, and I think he's really important to the team, especially for a second class, because as Edward said, you need the levity, and that is where Iceman comes into play for my team, especially when X-Men go on life or death missions. They deal with this heavy ass shit where you need a character to lighten the tension and to tell the younger team members that, yeah, this does kind of suck, but look at it this way, and make jokes, pull pranks on Cyclops to make him seem less serious. And we all know that at heart, Cyclops can be a bit of a softie, but the team members don't see that. That's where Iceman's going to come in and help bring that in. And he's also an Omega level mutant who could absolutely bring the power later. He is so cool. And I can't get past the pun now, but he's just such a fun character. And I think we have not gotten a good Iceman pretty much in any iteration so far. And I really want a good Iceman. My last overlapping character with Edward is Storm. I agree with everything Edward said, but I would change something. I would have her be the newest member of the team. And I would have her, we don't need to necessarily set up Shadow King, but have the involvements with Shadow King as she has in the comics, where she is tortured by this demonic telepath. It's so fucking cool, and I want Shadow King sometime in the X-Men universe.
Same here. Hell yeah.
He is like the embodiment of
now
all
we
negative thoughts.
We have to do, sorry to interrupt you, now we have to do a fucking villain roster at some point video.
Oh, don't worry. I'm getting there. I have one listed out.
Hell yeah.
Trust, I have five movies planned. I went probably too far than I should have, but I got 5.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, Shadow King, at least just teasing, maybe even just the opening scene. Open up with Storm running through Cairo, meeting Professor X, and have a brief psychic clash between Farouk, the Shadow King, and Charles Xavier, and see him slump over and bring him back later. That would be so fucking cool. And not to mention, have her later become the Queen of Wakanda. We know Marvel's going through this soft reboot. Have her be more involved with the greater MCU, as that's what Storm is. She's involved with so many different characters, where she even became an Avenger at one point. She can do so much more than just being another X-Man, and I would at least want her to become the Queen of Wakanda at some point, whether they use Shuri or T'Challa, whoever the fuck they're going to go with later. And now, I think I have 2 more, and I think these are going to surprise Edward, because I don't think in a million years he would guess these for me. But my next one is Havoc. Alexander Summers, the brother of Cyclops, I think would be such a good pick, because we've always seen Cyclops more in this solo where he's not the lone wolf. He's kind of just more of a wannabe lone wolf for a bit, where he's brooding about how his family was destroyed in a plane crash, where his father was, he doesn't know this, was part of the Shi'ar, and not part of the Shi'ar, but has connections with the Shi'ar, and they had the plane come down and destroy their plane. I think having Havoc here for a few reasons. We saw how powerful he could be in the animated series, but I think having more of the brotherly relationship between Cyclops and Havoc would be so cool, but then also see their leadership styles as then after, in my iteration, the second movie, see Havoc leave and go start X Factor. I think would be something that would be really cool to explore, as well as have that early powerhouse and the brotherly dynamic between the two. And my last one, who does have some relationships with Havoc, Polaris. I think Polaris would be a great character to round out the team. She is the daughter of Magneto, although not as powerful. She is incredibly powerful in her own right, and dealing with the dynamic of her dealing with her father being, to most of the world, this terrorist, I think would be very fun and very unique, and later join X Factor. We haven't really seen Polaris too much in X-Men except for the comics. They did do a Gifted show where she was a huge part of it, but not necessarily in the roles where she could fill in X-Men. But I think having her start on the X-Men team and then go through dealing with her father and then eventually going with Havoc to X Factor and fighting for a different cause through different means and through the government, I think would be much better. And as you guys noticed, I did leave off Gambit and Rogue purely because of X-Men 97. They're having their own time to shine in X-Men 97. I think take this time to do something new. You can have both teams in animation and live action, and you can tell two different stories. So I didn't feel the need to really add Gambit and Rogue here. But for the movies I have planned, and I would start off, surprisingly, with the first movie with Arcade, who is this genius-level intellect who likes just building this giant death traps. I would have him actually be hired by the Hellfire Club, who's gaining this data to help build the Sentinels, as Sebastian Shaw, who's part of the Hellfire Club, does have connections to the Sentinels, especially in their early development. And then have the second movie be about Magneto, where you then have Polaris and Havoc depart to X Factor, and the third one being about the Sentinels, Hellfire Club, and then leading to a fourth and fifth film, doing a proper Dark Phoenix arc with the Shi'ar, Hellfire Club, and everything. No Fox bullshit as we got.
Yeah, that's hard, man. I mean, it's a whole separate video. We could talk for about an hour straight, probably more, just on what's been done with Phoenix, Dark Phoenix, how they've never been able to get that right. It's sad that in animation, they did a phenomenal job with that entire
they did
arc.
amazing.
And that in live action, it just can't translate right. For me, if I'm going villains, I'm going to go a little old school on y'all's ass. I do want Magneto in the first movie. I just think he's such an integral part.
I think he should be there, just not the antagonist.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I was going.
Yeah,
I
agree.
I need Magneto there for everything Charles Xavier wise, and for the whole drama, the whole situation between them. The friendship needs to be explained. If those two don't know each other, that's fucking stupid. Even Fox knew better than to pull that shit. They did a lot wrong, but even they were like, no, these two have to be at odds and they have to be friends and whatever. But as a main antagonist, I do want the government. Senator Kelly, Senator Robert. It's funny that they named him Robert Kelly. That's fucked up. Senator Robert Kelly. I want him as a senator. I want him to start off as a senator, and I want the Sentinels. But I want proper animated, Fox Kids Sentinels, not those stupid Sentinels the size of a small condominium with the white and purple. Those did not look threatening whatsoever. I want proper 50-foot or 30, 40, 50 feet.
Mall size.
Yeah, exactly. Sentinels. So, something that you could hear when they land and then you're like, oh shit. Or like even when they walk, even in the animated series, like when they walk, they're just trampling through shit. I want that. I want those to be the main antagonists. And then for Charles to have some sort of conversation with Magneto where Magneto's like, see, look, they built this shit to get rid of us. I want that. For the second one, because everything's been built so much about Magneto, I still don't want Magneto to be the main villain of the second one. For the second one, I really do want Mr. Sinister. Mr. Sinister is crazy as hell. He's insane. He's been around for God knows how long. Victorian era. He's just experimented on himself. Most evil scientists experiment on other shit. Dr. Frankenstein, all these other weirdos. This dude, he went and did it on himself. You got to give him props for that. He went and experimented on himself. He perfected his body. He's obsessed with evolution and all this other crazy shit. He's got a hard-on for Jean Grey and Cyclops, which brings them into the whole fold. And then it leads us to one of my favorite X-Men characters, who's sometimes not X-Men, Cable. Cable is Josh Brolin did an amazing job with that dude, man. I was like, man, when I heard that they were doing Cable, I was like, I don't know, man. Great job. Perfect example of being able to play two different roles in the same universe. Well, kind of the same universe. He did a great job. I really want Mr. Sinister and his henchmen. That would be dope. I want to go
2 X-Men 97 for me, but I like the idea.
I want to go big, man. I want to go comic book accurate. I want Savage Land. I want all of that shit eventually.
That'll be cool.
I do really want, as Griffin said, more than anything else, a proper Dark Phoenix saga. Don't be afraid of bringing in the Shi'ar Empire, man. Like, why?
Yeah.
Don't give me Phoenix.
You could even introduce him in the next Guardians movie.
We've been to space.
So easy.
You're bringing in Galactus, comic book accurate Galactus, not that fucking cloud. So don't be afraid of bringing an empire from outer space. That would be so. I'll even cast Lilandria for you, Monica Bellucci. If you fuck that up, I don't know how I'm gonna live with myself. She'd be perfect for the role. I'm telling you. Yeah, she's getting up there in age, but Lilandra's not young. Who knows how long she's been around for? But again, she's got a relationship with Charles, and Charles is not in his 40s. So there you go. I want to see the Shi'ar Empire. I want to see Gladiator and the entire Imperial Guard. I want to see all that. The can with the crystal, all that shit, man. Give it to me.
That'd be so fucking cool.
And then I do want to see Apocalypse, but I want to see proper Apocalypse. I don't want to see
absolutely
whatever the hell that was. And what I mean by proper Apocalypse is I want to see that dude be able to grow the size of the fucking Statue of Liberty, morph into other mutants. Just give X-Men Evolution did Apocalypse perfect. It's an animated series. Good. If you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor, go watch it. It's essentially high school X-Men, but the villains are done so. That is the coolest Magneto I've yet seen in X-Men Evolution. The way he hides his face when he's got his helmet on, the way they did Apocalypse is just fucking perfect. Give me that. That's all I want from X-Men movies. It's maybe asking too much, but we've been kind of dealt the shit hand before, so.
Oh yeah, for sure. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let us know who you want for your X-Men team and which team you agree with more. And if you're a huge fan of X-Men as we are, we did an X-Men tier list that we think you would greatly enjoy.